Welcome back. Today I am continuing the reading of Science of Healing. Now, this is by Dr. Malachi Z. York. Get your own copy if you can. You are welcome to continue listening to me read. And I want to share a website. I believe it's pronounced Scribd, SCRIBD. It is .com, and it is a PDF type where people can download their books. There's a whole bunch of books of Dr. York there, and this one's on there as well. So check it out, because information is a valuable tool for us all to use, and we have a limited amount of time in these day and ages, and you need to be able to be right-minded, right-guided within the searching that you are doing. I know I have been a seeker, and I have been searching and asking for truth, and here it is. And I can't ask for any more truth than what I have recently discovered and that I am sharing with you. So those that have ears to hear, let them hear. Everyone else, keep it pushing. So without further ado, The Science of Healing, and we are on page 26 of this book, and this is scroll 139, and we're at the part of what goes up must come down. Okay. Sit back and enjoy, and thank you again for listening. Humans are surrounded by a force field of negative and positive charges. It is called his auric egg, halat. Human's halat contains his spirit, soul, and physical form. The halat may be looked upon as the atmosphere of the body because it reflects the real vital body, mental mood, health, and character. The halat has different layers or moods or reflections that are reflected in color, which may appear cloud-like or bright and clear according to the mood it is reflecting. The purer the person, the more illuminated his or her halat will be. Everyone is not able to see the halat. Only those who are highly spiritual. The reflection of color rarely stays the same, for the halat reflects the most intricate moods of the person, totally dominant or cloud out a majority of the other moods reflected. In this case, we would know if a person in subject is being acted upon by a particular mood of his halat makeup. The basic primary colors of the halat are, number 1, red, 2, blue, 3, yellow. From these 3 colors, the secondary colors are formed: green, orange, purple, indigo, and violet. Here's a little what they give the images to be. Okay? Sharing the information with you as best I can, and I'm enjoying it. Are you? Now, diagram 9 was the primary colors. The meaning of the colors: red. Red is a color that projects or encourages desire and evil. It is taken to represent evil. This color depicts anger, sin, and bloodshed. Blue. Blue reflects a highly spiritual mood and the virtuous qualities of man, such as devotion, faith, piety. Various levels of this mood are reflected in different shades and tints of blue. The mood of this color is highly spiritual. Yellow. Yellow is the color that reflects intellect or a total state of consciousness. Yellow about the halat or within it shows intellect in the person. The brighter the hue, the purer the stream of mentality, showing greater intellect. Whenever the color is dull or dingy, the thoughts and moods of the person is either slow or out of tune with the mental plane. Yellow encourages reason, judgment, analysis, or the use of logical mental activity. Excuse me, doing a lot of reading today. Got my honey tea, honey cinnamon tea to help soothe my throat so that I can continue to share these messages with you. Yay. Green. Green, dealing with light, is a most divine mood. Green is a combination of the moods that blue and yellow reflect, which is reflected from the heavens of the mental plane. Green, like white, is a healing force, except the green light is much more powerful and much more purified force. It is controlled and directed to humans by Al-Qadir, the green one, who is the supreme angelic guardian over the earth physical plane. Black. Black is not a color, but a supreme state of mind. Black is supreme balance. Black is the total absence of moods and colors. It is the absence of all imbalancement. White. White is a state of purity of mind and soul. White does not project a mood, but a force. White reflects one of the healing forces. There is never a white aura, halat. The white light or forces is projected from angelic beings who are placed as guardians over men. The color white invokes these angelic guardians. Gray. Gray is a negative color, projecting a totally negative mood. It is a force combination of black and white because they are two complete and individual states, neither lacking. They remain in constant battle. Persons with the color gray in their aura are compelled toward depression, pessimism, and malice. Brown. Brown is another negative color, which it be a light shade or a deep murky brown. It projects a mood of greed and desire for material gain. This is because brown is a combination of green and red. The red in brown will dominate the green that is already a combination of two colors, blue and yellow. When one sights the halat, it will appear like a kaleidoscope. The highest and lowest forms that have been able to be detected are those of vibrations. Everything vibrates, which manifests itself in different moods and schemes. The expression of vibration is called a mood. Each mood acts and reacts, continually carrying out life processes. These moods make up what is known as planes. Planes are moods and schemes of vibration existing in very unique and unified forms. There are 7 planes. The lowest and slowest is the material plane, while the fastest and highest that humans are able to comprehend is the bosom of Anu, Elyon, the Most High. The 7 heavens, the planes. Number 1, material plane. Number 2, the plane of force. Number 3, the spiritual plane. Number 4, the mental plane. Number 5, the plane of divine truth. Number 6, the plane of divine reality. And number 7, bosom of Anu. Planes are distinct and intricate moods of vibration woven into one another so uniquely that one cannot determine where one begins and the other ends. In other words, they have no spatial distinction of degree. A single point of space may have many manifestations on all of the 11 planes of being. Every sense that humans have vibrates. The 5 senses are hearing, sight, taste, smell, and touch. What many have been taught to be 5 senses are in reality really 3, which are see, hear, and touch. Taste is a sense of touch. Matters touches the taste buds, and smell is a sense of touch. Particles touch nerves that react to smell. Hearing is also touch. Sound waves touch the eardrum and cause it to vibrate. However, it is counted as a separate sense. Then there are the other senses which are not sufficiently developed in the average human. They are called ESP, or extrasensory perception. The higher senses. Intuition. The quick perception of truth by the mind without the intervention of any process of thought. Telepathy. Mental communication. The transference of thought from one being to another without the use of words or wires. Psychometry. Object reading. The ability to identify or tell something about an object by picking up thought waves implanted by someone previously associated with the article. Clairvoyance. Clear sight. To see into the other dimensions, second sight, and awareness of distinct objects and events. Okay, now we have more pictures here. So we'll start. Maybe you'll have a visual as I'm reading it. Can you see what they're saying? Like, you see the stars in the face and everything, the body, the aura around it. Okay, so I'm reading. It says 99 sub-degrees. The light is the spiritual spinal column that links the chakras that shineth in the darkness. The light was the spirit of Anu, that part of Anu that is in every human. This very special portion of Anu is what the darkness, the body of the human, did not understand. For it was another world. Their body was physical, and the light was spiritual to strangers. Channel of the mind force from the mental reserve. Reconfirmation of the fact that within every human on this earth, you will find a part is not hidden. It is just unrecognizable and thereby uncultured. But it is there. It is the truth in the sense that although it appeared to be of foreign nature, its potent was good and compatible for human. Now we have another. Now I understand the print on this isn't 100%, being as it's old and it's black and white. Now, so that is E1 plus E2 equals light of the sun, the soul, ether and ether. Going further, you have the spirit, which is a reflection of what the soul contains. And then on the other side, H1 plus H2, light of the sun, which is the body, the yielder. All right. That was diagram 11. Okay, soul, which is spiritual. This is the undefined side. The state where the 99 sub-degrees of Anu exist without the definite article ah. The spiritual state exists within the bosom of Anu and is where the school of patience exists. This is the state that is not visible to the physical eye, the lighter side. Humans can only experience the spiritual state. In the spiritual state, human's aura appears. Excuse me. The aura may be looked upon as the atmosphere of the body. Okay? Now, on the body, that was the soul spiritual side. I just read this part right here. Okay? So now I'm going to read this part. Body, physical. This is the definite side, the state where the 99 attributes of Anu exist, with the definite article all al to correspond with the 99 elements of the periodical chart. Starting with the hydrogen, H for hydrogen, the first and the key to any kind of matter. Okay? The plane of force and the material plane worked together in perfect harmony. If this were not true, then the cycles of nature would not be completed. So, perfectly and faithfully each year, the plane of force is largely composed of etheric duplicates of objects on the physical plane. Etheric refers to the spiritual part of you. As above, so below. However, beyond this realm of etheric duplicates is a vast reservoir of forces that very few have knowledge of. These forces control the forces that result in what you know to be nature. These higher forces can also be held accountable for the many so-called wonders and supernatural phenomena of the material plane. The plane of forces, also called the energy plane, consists of ordinary forms of energy like heat, light, attraction, electricity, etc., as well as those forms of energy that are finer, that gives human and nature vitality and the ability to grow and reproduce. This vital force that sets life on the physical into motion and is responsible for growth and reproduction is called nafs, also known as prana. Nafs literally means spirit. Nafs, the spark of life. A metaphysical system in which reality is concerned as a unified whole. All things come from and are one with the Creator. The spark of life that comes from Him is Nafs. Therefore, Anu, the Most High, left the essence of His being in every atom of His creation. With it, He harmonized the entire life processes of man and nature because Nafs is constant rhythmic pulsation. In nature, we call this harmonization seasons. The plane of force is perfectly woven into all matters on the material plane. On the plane of force, matter is not solid, liquid, or gas, as you overstand it to be on the material plane, but much more refined because it is vibrating at a higher speed. The basis or mother of matter is nature, and nature is a result of the plane force. On the plane of force, there is no distance, temperature, seasons, day, night, or time. All of these are results of the plane of force and made manifest in the physical plane. On the plane of force, one is not subject to gravitation, or at least not the same degrees of gravitation. Gravitation, as well as the rest of the forces that control Earth, are on a highly refined basis on the plane of force. By breaking the law of gravitation on the physical plane, one can raise himself in height. To break the law of gravitation, you must raise your energies, which increases the vibration of the seats, chakras, and radiates the aura to revolve at a certain speed. The seat is a facility that Anu, Elyon, El, the Most High, has bestowed upon human senses to keep humans in tune with the spiritual world. The spiritual can be visited without death if one masters the desire of the physical plane. In Quran 46:26, reference is made to the facilities that enable human to keep in tune with the spiritual: ears hearing, eyes seeing, and heart feeling. This is not the physical eye, ear, or heart that are visible to human, but that which aids human in his spiritual senses. Now, Quran 46:26. I'm going to attempt to read as each one, and then what it breaks it down, and then it's all together without definitions, and then he gives the mistranslation. So this is the correct translation, and then he gives the mistranslation. Okay. Wa and Laqdad, indeed, Makan Nacham, we established them, Fima, in that which, in that Makan Nakum, we established you all, Fihi, in it, Wa, and Ja'alna, we made Lahum, for them, Sam'an, hearing, Wa, and Absaran, sight, Wa, and Afida, inner hearts, Fama, so not, Agna, will benefit, Anhum, them, from them, Sam'uhum, their hearing, Wa, and La'ah, not, Absa, Ruhum, their sight, Wa, just and, La'ah, not or nor, Afida, tuhum, their inner heart, Min, which is from, Shay'in, anything, is, when, Khanu, they were, Yashhaduna, they ignoring, Bi'ati, with the signs of Al-Lahi, the source, Wa, and Hak. Ha-ka, surrounded, Bihim, them, Ma'a, that which, Ka'anu, they were, Behi, by way of it, Yasta, Ze'un, they ridiculed or mocked. So, and surely we, Anunnaki, Makna'anhum, established them. This is the correct translation. The pale Enosites of the valley of Ha-Ka'af, the sandy plains, in the land more firmly than you, the Enosites of Muhammad, and we made for them Sam'an, inner hearing, and Afidatan, inner seeing, and inner heart, but none of their Sam'uhum, inner hearing, and none of their Absa'ar, inner sight, and none of their Afidat, inner hearts, proved to be of any benefit to them, since they ignored the signs of the source, Allah, given by the news bearer of the tribe of Ad, called Hud Eber, and they were encircled by that which they used to mock at. Now that right translation as Ashurk Syriac Arabic was by Dr. Malachi Z. York, and it was mistranslated by Abdullah Yusuf Ali in 1938 AD. And this is what it was mistranslated to. And we had firmly established them in posterity and power, which we have not given to you, ye Reish, And we had endowed them with faculties of hearing, seeing, heart, and intellect, but of no profit to them were their faculties of hearing, sight, and heart, and intellect. When they went on rejecting the signs of Allah, they were completely encircled by that which they used to mock at. So that was the mistranslation. What you heard me attempt was the correct translation. Yes. So let's continue. The spiritual senses, represented by a secondary set of senses corresponding to the senses of the physical plane. In other words, the earthly senses of hearing, seeing, feeling, smelling, and tasting have spiritual counterparts by which the body receives impressions. 7 seats or chakras of the human body and descriptions. Number 1, root or basic seat, which is located at the base of the spine. It superimposes the prostrate area in the male and the uterus in the female. Number 2, spleen or splenic seat, located over the spleen. It superimposes the navel and extends to embed some of its roots in the spleen. Number 3, the navel or umbilical seat, located at the navel over the solar plex. It superimposes the solar plex area and the great lobe of the liver. Number 4, heart or cardiac seat. Located over the heart, it superimposes the thymus gland between the shoulder blades and the right auricle and the pulse point of the heart. Number 5, the throat or laryngeal seat, located at the front of the throat. It superimposes the thyroid gland in the throat and extends to embrace the medulla oblongata. And then number 6, it reminds me of that movie with what's his name? Oh, Waterboy. He talked about the medulla oblongata. Anyway, number 6, brow or frontal seat, located in the space between the eyebrows. It superimposes the pituitary gland. Number 7, the crown or the coronal seat. It located on the top of the head. It superimposes the pineal gland. It radiates outward to cover the entire head. The spiritual body and senses are attached to our physical form by a very thin cobweb-like etheric cord, which is the shelf of the soul, houses it on the spiritual plane. The spiritual body may continue to live for an extended amount of years depending upon the spiritual status of the individual. However, we do not keep the spiritual body after we have elevated from the physical plane. One may ascend the spiritual without death of the physical body, or without breaking the ethereal cord. In this case, the cord is then expanded like a rubber tube, allowing the spirit to carry the soul through it as a passageway or tunnel. Now, the 7 planes are in tune with the 7 senses, which are in tune with the spiritual spinal column, through which a new light travels, which is in tune with the sympathetic nervous system, which is in tune with the electromagnetic force field that surrounds the body, called aura. To break the law of gravitation, you must raise your energies to radiate your aura. Now, the 7 planes. Number 1, material, governor of carnal desires. Number 2, force, the force between voluntary and involuntary actions. Number 3, spiritual emotions are, manifested. I'm talking a whole lot. Emotions are manifested. Number 4, mental, spirit, and soul are outgrown. Number 5, divine truth, guardian angelic beings. Number 6, divine reality, spark of life. And number 7, union with the all, eternal bliss. Now here's a picture of, we just read about the chakras. For those who don't know what the chakras are and where they are located. Okay? The 7 seats, the chakras, are in tune with the 7 heavens. The 7 heavens. Humans are the only one who can open their higher senses, the third eye. The use of his 6th sense, ESP, extrasensory perception. If humans' physical and mental are in tune, he will be able to exercise his third eye, overstanding of truth. His spiritual body and will eventually reach the plane of ultimate will, that of performing good. The first step necessary to restore perfection to the body is to instill complete faith that there does exist a vast reservoir of spiritual and life forces awaiting only humans' mental acceptance of them. The first act, the act of having faith, is within itself a gigantic step forward. For because of humans' follies and infatuations with earth and low mortal concept, the negative mental force field overpowering the positive mental force field has so crystallized around humans' physical form that it is indeed difficult to destroy the power it exerts. This mental force field has built a wall, an invisible wall, almost impenetrable wall, which prevents the inflow of the positive spiritual energies. Remember, Nubians are open to the spiritual forces. They are available to he whose mental force field can be prepared to be open to make it possible for him to enter and revitalize the physical form with new life. For a new Elyon El breathed into the body of man, the physical, the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Body plus spirit equal a living soul. This can be found in Genesis 2, verse 7. Now the modern, we're going to do this again. Okay, now the modern Hebrew script. Okay, so you can see, I will read, where am I at so that you can see? Read it, and each word he gives the proper word and then the English translation, and he gives the correct translation and the improper translation. So that you can, this is so that you can, within yourself, do your own specific studies. Don't ever take anybody's word for anything. You need to determine and listen within yourself, within you, the divine being that you are, needing to have the discernment that has been given to you to decide what is true and what is not. I'm just sharing. Those that have ears to hear, let them hear. Those that not, keep it pushing. So let's keep it going. Wah and Yahuwah of Ha, the Elohim, Yahsar, shaped Adwam, those of the ground, Adamites, earthlings, from the Afwa, clotted blood, of the Adalma, those of the ground, Adamites, earthlings. Wah and Nafak breathed into his nostrils the Neshama, breath of K'im, divine life. Wa and Ha, the Adam, those of the ground, Adamites, earthlings. Yahe became a Keli, living Nephish, spirit. And Yahuwah of the Elohim shaped Kadmon, Adam from Ninti, cloth of the granulated blood, from the people of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of divine life. And the Adam, Kadmon, was born a living spirit. That was the right translation in Aramaic Hebrew by Dr. Malachi Z. York, mistranslated for King James 1611. This was the mistranslation, which will be in the Bible that you can read for yourself. And so you want to read, compare, and come back and listen and compare. The choice is yours. Now, the mistranslation: and the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. By raising the light and pulling the energies, only by the disciple who has been through the schools of the trained, disciplined consciousness, the energies are subject to control. Increased energies towards illumination of the seat. We'll do this the best we can with this one. Now you see all of this? And you see he has scribbles on him of different degrees. And then there's different scribbles of degrees on this chart. We are here to learn, right? What you don't know was knowledge you didn't know about. Once you know, you have new knowledge. Et voila. There we go. So, now, in any instance, the energies are spiritually invoked. The light in each seat increases in strength and power, illuminating, radiating, and expanding in increased force. Everything is still and quiet. The eyes are made single. You make a buzzing sound as if a hum. Allah, Allah. You tune all lights in. I did that because that's what it does right there. You tune all lights in. You make the buzzing sound come from the outside of the body to the inside of the body until you hear and feel the whole body vibrate. On it, concentration is on the green light, the source of the energy. To make one's eye single one is to temporarily suspend the sight from the two physical eyes and look inward. The eye is the third eye, the eye of extrasensory perception, ESP. In the illustration on the previous page with all the scribbles, I have attempted to show you the actual three-dimensional structure and complexity of the body's force field. This diagram is derived from scientific findings using newly developed and highly sensitive instruments. The best overstanding the illustration image that your body is like a pebble dropped into a pond, creating whirlpools on the surface of the water and radiating outward from you in an even greater circle. Now here's two. This one, he's like in. You can see how he's inside something. And this one here is the same thing. The diagram. Okay? I'm loving this. I don't know about you. Just for me to be reading, those of you who know me, I'm not one to curl up with a good book. I will seek knowledge. This is knowledge. Therefore, this is exciting to me, and I'm excited to read. I'm excited to share this. I'm making sure I'm doing my part. I'm just saying. We have shown this effect on our imaginary surface represented by broken lines. Now imagine these waves closely, and you will notice that their touching points are represented by dots or nodes. Now imagine yourself in a sea of ethers rather than water flowing in and around you. Imagine the dots and their waves completely surrounding you from head to toe, constantly changing and interacting with each other with the speed of thought. Colors constantly change, radiating, rising, and expanding. Those within the mystery school pledged their very life to keep the secrets. Why? Because the discipline of the greater mysteries had at its command an immense knowledge of the vital forces of nature, and using it properly could gain power to either destroy or construct. Thus was it necessary that extreme caution be exerted. One of the largest schools of learning, some sites of the mystery schools. Okay, this was a pyramid that was a school of thought, one of the learning. Because they did initiations inside the pyramids. Those that listen to me read The Children of the Law of War and the Lost Teachings of Atlantis, a lot of this is, I'm hearing stuff in here that was in that book as well. So, just saying. Some of the sites of the mystery schools, it was Egypt, Tibet, Persia, India, Mu, Greece, Mexico, Easter Island, Thailand, Sudan, Ethiopia, Italy, Western Asia, Pakistan. In each of these places, the culture of the people reflected knowledge of spiritual beings or deities who possessed powers that far surpassed the comprehension of mortals. Legends about these super beings passed down from generation to generation. Each of these cultures had legends. Easter Island is one of the most well-known of these sites where the elders have established their schools. This island is located in the South Pacific Ocean and got its name from a Dutch explorer who landed there on Easter Sunday and named it Easter Island. The people living there now are not the people who originally lived there. These people are the descendants of people who migrated from other South Sea islands. They in turn migrated from the Orient, from the East. To guard the schools against the curiosity of the islanders, the elders carved hundreds of great statues that stood in certain spots. From a distance, and to an ignorant mind, they seemed monstrous. Their heads were gigantic with a frightening facial expression and distorted physical features. Still, the islanders witnessed many of the elders' activities around which they built legends. One of these legends is that of the Rapi Nui. Rapi Nui means Birdman, and is the name given by the islanders to Zoser, who is represented by Thoth in Egypt and on Easter Island as man. The language of the ancient people cannot be deciphered. It is written on tablets of stone that were held by the priest's great libraries. The language recorded on these tablets is similar to the languages found on tablets from the Indus Valley. The meaning of the name of Easter Island, as translated into English as eyes looking up to heaven. The legends of the elders. There is a story about a small island that lies just a short distance from Easter Island. On this island lives a certain bird. At the beginning of the spring, the priests, who were very tall men, went to live on the shore of Easter Island in cave dwellings constructed of rocks. The representatives of the priests raced out to the island where the bird nests. Whichever of the priests received the egg that was first laid was the birdman for the coming year. This meant great power for the birdman and his tribe. The islanders called pantheons to worship the Rapa Nui, the creator deity called Makimaki, and the other deities, just as they rained down on Mu. The inhabitants of Easter Island, out of fear and ignorance, rained down on the elders. They knocked down statues and destroyed altars and temples. Many statues remain in the quarry unfinished. The longest is 22 meters long and weighs 400 tons. The School of India. In India as well, they are waiting on the elders. There is a poem called Mahabharata that consists of 80,000 verses. This poem is thousands of years old and speaks of deities coming to earth. The narrator speaks of seeing a vehicle powered by mercury and wind currents. He witnessed a blast off and a gigantic beam of light. These are just some of the places where you can hear tales of gods that walked the earth. The most ancient based reliefs shown scribes writing with a pen. They are not using hieroglyphs and carvings into rocks as archaeologists would have you believe. Many people today do not understand these figures. These are none other than symbols of different landing stations or geographical areas that the elders used to land. They are used to let other visitors know where they are and what established school of light they are from. Today, man uses gauges of longitude and latitude and a control tower to tell him where he is at. The elders used symbols, much like the crop circles that you see all over the world today. The crop circles serve the same purpose as did the landing stations of the elders. Each point had a meaning, and only certain people knew what each point meant. So, here's one picture. Can you see that? And then here's another. Back up a little bit. So that's an aerial view. So, oops. Okay, we have more pictures. Well, this looks like a spider from above. Crop circle of a landing spot. These are actual apparatuses used to land on the landing strips. They were used in traveling from school to school. They were also used by other intelligence. Okay? All of this is because this man knows what this stuff really is, because he is who he is. And he's sharing what is to be shared. You see that? It looks like a spider from up above. And then he's saying that this is the tool that was used. Those who have ears to hear, let them hear. All others, keep it pushing. All right, this is a statue. These disciple students are actually writing. And then, so looks like a temple and another pyramids. Two views of the remains of a school in Egypt. So, to me, that looks like Imhotep. I could be wrong from the picture that was given. Let's see these pictures. Okay? I know I have been asking for truth. Et voila, here it is. Now, when the traveler moved interplanetarily, they would wear special clothing. Now, I can't really see through this, but maybe you can see. It almost looks like black and white negatives to me, but people have walked into some of the pyramids, and with the faintness of what's up there, were able to see and say what it was and filled in pictures for those archaeologists, whatever that word is, didn't even know. So I'm just saying, if you are one of those that are on here, hey, welcome. All right. In the second figure, it says, notice the halat, the aura. So that's what is being shown there. Notice the drawings over the heads. This was a symbol of the halat, aura of the travelers. In humans, there is a voltage and a current between his crown seat and root seat, which we know as chakras. The electrical flows gives rise to a magnetic field which surrounds him. This magnetic force field of negative and positive charges is called man's aura or halat. Humans can activate their energies to such a speed that their halat radiates. This, of course, was taught in the schools. These are actual runways for the vehicles used by the elders for traveling physically across the atmospheres. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesospheres, ionospheres, thermospheres, and exospheres. Runways used for the vehicles by the elders. So I'll just show a picture what he's saying. Okay. It is important to make note that there are other galaxies. A large system of stars held together by centrifugal and centripetal forces or mutual gravitation. In these universes, besides yours, refer to man from the planet Risk, which is scroll number 80, which is where the master teacher is from, which was scroll 80. Now, the School of Tibet. Tibet is one of the sites of the mystery schools. Many of the temples that are thought to be shrines for idolatry are in actuality the schools of the elders. The elders appeared where, when, and how they were needed in the world over. Long ago, those who witnessed their arrival and departures recorded what they saw, or what they thought they saw. In Tibet, there is a 1,000-volume set of tablets called the Tablets of Kuntur. These holy texts that contain information of Lamaism are the most complex secret code of information ever recorded. They are so complex that only 1/100th have been deciphered. These tablets make reference to deities in the skies, luminous corals, and transparent spheres. This is the same type of vehicle witnessed by Ezekiel in the book of Ezekiel 1, chapter 1, verse 16. All right. So, here we go with the translation again. The Mar'eh, appearance, sight of the Ophon wheels and their Ma'azshe works was like to the Achyin eye color of a Farshish barrel, and they Arbar 4 had Ekad 1 Demuth likeness, and their Ma'eth appearance, sight, and their Ma'ashe work was as it were a Ophon wheel in the Tawek middle of an Ophon wheel. The appearance of wheels and their work was like to the eye of a beryl, brilliant, and the 4 wheels had the likeness of one, and their appearance and their work was like a wheel within the midst of another wheel. Now that was the right translation in Aramaic Hebrew by Dr. Malachi York. Now, this is the mistranslations from the King James Version from the year 1611. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl. And they had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as if it were a wheel in the middle of another wheel. Now, Ezekiel, son of Buzi and Michael, or Mechal. Or is that supposed to be? Whatever. But this is what Ezekiel looked like. This is Ezekiel. For all you Nubians out there who thought that you didn't exist prior, hello, you were the beginning. Let's continue. Yes, this was an aircraft that Ezekiel was talking about. This ship was an aircraft made through utilizing the body forces from the chakras to break the law of gravitation. Therefore, rising the self being done together made it a mothership, for it can be done together or individually. People have seen it and described it. Although they saw the same thing, their description was different because they may have seen it from different angles. For example, top view, front view, or bottom view. The following are some terms used to describe it. Okay. Yesterday, noise of great waters, whirlwind, likeness and appearance of a man, of a throne and a man, wheel in the middle of a wheel, fermentation, 4 living creatures, wings, a fire unfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber. Now the explanation, the sound of movement, the energies in the body, eliminating, radiating, and expanding in increased force. The Lamb, Melchizedek. The circle of the 12 disciples of Melchizedek and the circle of the 24 elders. The amount of space taken up by the secret seat of counsel. The visions of prophecy of the 4 horsemen spoken of in the Scroll of Revelations. Unfolding of the rise and fall of the horsemen. The lights of energies illuminating, radiating, expanding from the elders. And now today, what they would describe it as: engine, aircraft, flying saucer, IFO, bright lights, lights moving above, the distance from the hull of the ship to its outer edges, flames of fire and brightness. Okay, and so that was all on a chart that I read. Okay. And sharing. Horses are symbolically referred to as carrying the burdens of the future, which is a metaphor for the events of the future. Each of the 4 living creatures, beasts, are symbolic of the 4 major world empires that have prevailed upon the earth since the beginning to its eventual end. What Ezekiel saw was the Rizkion elders, the secret seat of counsel, as described in Revelations 4:4, the secret seat of counsel, the mothership, the keeper of the source of all things to come. It is a high order of which Jesus is the prince, and Melchizedek is the ruler. The circle of the secret seat of counsel has schools of learning here on earth today that have existed from the beginning of time. Mu, Atlantis, Tibet, Persia, Easter Island, and Egypt. The knowledge we are presenting to you was contained in this order. The sons of the green light, which is now called the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, AMOM. There are orders that try to imitate this order, such as the Masons, the Shriners, the Knights of Columbus, and other groups of order based upon secrets, grips, and passwords. In fact, the Parliament of Great Britain is based upon the circle of the secret seat of council. The round table is nothing but an imitation of the circle of the elders. The round table is used quite often in the United Nations building conference room. The United Nations building is built like a book. This book is none other than the Holy Scriptures. The page that it is open to is Isaiah 2, verse 4, which states as, we're going to give the translation, the proper translation, and then the mistranslation. And he will, Shaphat, judge, ban among between the Goi, Gentile nations, and will, Yakah, rebuke, rob, many, nations of people. And they will, Katat, beat their Kereb, swords into eighth, plowshares, and their Kanith, spears into Masmerah, pruning hooks. Goi, Gentile nation, will not, Nashah, lift up Kereb, swords, against Goi, Gentile nations, neither will they Lamad, learn, kill Kama, battle, war, any ode more. Now, altogether it says, and Yahweh will judge between the Gentile nations, and they will rebuke many nations of people, and they will beat by crushing their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. The Gentile nations will not lift up a sword any more against other Gentile nations, neither will they learn how to battle any more. Now that's the right translations in Aramaic Hebrew, my version, by Dr. Malachi York. Now the mistranslation of this for the King James Version, which was in 1611, is, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. So I'm going to stop there. And when we pick up, I'm stopping on page 48, and I'll pick up at the question of how do the Riskinians travel through space, all right? I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. I've been reading The Science of Healing. This is by Dr. York, and it's scroll 139, Science of Healing. Thank you for listening. Get a copy of this for yourself if you can. That site that I spoke of is spelled SCRIBD, scribd.com. Check it out. It has a lot of information there. And yeah. So thank you for listening. And until the next time, have the most benevolent day.